I'm Elaine Collins. I'm a licensed marriage family therapist, and I hold a pupil personnel credential. I first got into counseling because counseling was so beneficial for me personally, and I wanted to be able to help. So I went off to graduate school and thought I would go into private practice. And in graduate school, I did my internship in the schools, and frankly, it broke my heart. I was in the Bay Area. I was in a school that had 35 different languages, really high transiency rate. They took their school pictures in February because the class would entirely change by then. And I began to see that the idea of private practice was kind of a privileged thing for folks who were middle class, had insurance, et cetera, and that there was a big need in schools. So that's where I began, and had a career I loved my job, retired, felt very satisfied with the work I had done. And then I got a phone call, and my sister-in-law said, "Elaine, Paradise is on fire. Can we evacuate to you?" So 7 people and 3 dogs came to our house in Sacramento, and I began thinking about, once we knew the magnitude of the Camp Fire, I began thinking about what the need was going to be for counselors, and kept reaching out to different organizations to find out who was going to be coordinating, and then finally was invited to volunteer at the mall. So the first days that students and families were back attending school of some sort at the mall, it was a very kind of bizarre type of a school. I was there and volunteered, and then they asked if I could come work up on the ridge. So ever since then, I have been at Pine Ridge School in Magalia, and helping kids through the recovery and growth that has happened since the Camp Fire, and then through the pandemic. And frankly, since 2018, as much as I loved my career before, this has been probably the most moving, powerful, challenging, rewarding work I've ever done. I've often thought about what a privilege it is to be a counselor, to be a therapist, to be in a really private, sacred part of people's lives, to hold that trust and to hold some of the pain of their life and the growth. You know, we're able to see that up close and personal in a way that a lot of people don't. And I've never taken that for granted. I've always felt so grateful that I get to do a job that I really love. It's really exciting to me when I see that kind of aha moment when a student realizes, gee, I'm not responsible for daddy's drinking, or it wasn't my fault that mom left. To see the relief they experience when an adult says to them, this wasn't your fault. This didn't happen because of anything you did. The other thing that's really exciting to me is when I start seeing friends of the students that I see. When an 8-year-old suggests to somebody in their classroom that it would be great for them if they went and talked to Miss Collins or Miss Elaine, that's pretty thrilling. And to see kids go from feeling like life is so hard and overwhelming to little bits of joy, and maybe I can see some hope, and maybe I can see that things won't always be this way, that things will change. That's so exciting and brings me such joy to be able to see that. So the way I have survived some of the heartache of the work up here is through regular consultation and support from the amazing group that I am privileged to work with. Exercise, eating right, sleeping, all the things we tell our kids to do, hydrating, And then, most of my friends are therapists, so when all of that isn't enough, I'm able to do some debriefing with them, and they're great about giving me reality checks and, again, letting me know that I'm just a small part. I can offer what healing I can, and then I have to let go. My hope is that we grow more therapists and more counselors. Someone in Butte County said to me, "This is the most counselors we've ever had here my entire career." And I know in schools, California has, for many years, had just really awful counselor-student ratios. And so my hope is that we grow a lot more counselors and therapists, and that the funding remains, and that the world as a whole sees the value of funding therapists in schools. We used to joke when counselors were so limited that maybe we should go get a job working in the prisons because they were paid pretty well, and that seemed to be the way a lot of students would end up if they weren't getting the support they needed. And that's sort of some of the dark humor we have sometimes as a therapist or a counselor. But my hope is that we continue to multiply, that there's counselors in every single school, that there's lots of agencies that offer low-cost and no-cost counseling for families and give them the support they deserve.